This is going to be a completely low effort video. I am not going to get the good camera out. I'm not going to get the good sound out. I'm not even going to brush my fucking hair or put it back. In fact, I'm not even getting out of bed for this shit. Usually I don't get involved in YouTube drama, but finally somebody's created something that rises above my give a shit. Usually the YouTube drama is usually right here. This particular piece has managed to rise above my actually giving a shit. Just because it's so fucking egregious. And just in general, all of the YouTubers just taking shots at each other. Do you ever just sit back and look at your behavior and say, why am I behaving exactly like I would have the moment I first noticed that I was growing pubic hair? Like middle school behavior. Is it ever embarrassing? Do you ever like just look at it and you're like, oh my fucking god, I'm behaving this way? Anyway, this channel, I can put whatever I fucking well want out. I can't do that on Honey Badge Radio. I have to be a responsible citizen, but this channel, I can fiddle while Rome burns. I am responding to dealing with hurtful, violent comments by Baring, and I'm not actually responding to Baring, I'm responding to what he's responding to because it's so fucking egregious. Context. This is specifically about the allegation that Baring targets 12-year-old girls for cyber mobbing and bullying.
So where did this myth come from? Well, I think I've got a fair idea. Fair idea. Fair idea. Fair idea.
What we have right now with feminism is that there's two feminisms.
There are not two feminisms. There is only one feminism. There is only one ideology that purports that there is class warfare between men and women, with men always winning. There's only one. There's a difference in the eventual conclusion that feminists come to. Some feminists take class warfare between men and women, with men winning, and come to the obvious conclusion that if men cannot feel compassion for their mothers, their wives, their sisters, their female friends, their aunts, their cousins, and their daughters, if they can't feel compassion for the people that they are closest to in their life, then they are never going to feel compassion. Therefore, the only way for women to ever get a fair shake is to exterminate men or reduce men's power or political power. That's radical feminism. The other type of feminism is just deeply hypocritical. It wants to assert that there is a class warfare between the two groups of people that fucking create society. It wants to assert that, but it doesn't want to go so far as to saying that the only solution is the inevitable world war gender in which men have to be exterminated. That's the only fucking difference. They don't go that far, which is actually hypocritical if you think about it. Because if you're going to assert that men are sociopathic to the point where they do not and will not ever care about the people who are closest to them, how can women ever get a fair shake in that kind of a society? How? It's impossible. So the two different feminists are basically hypocritical feminists who don't take their religion to its logical conclusion, and non-hypocritical feminists who do.
And well, it's a spectrum, but let's just talk about the two extremes. There's academic feminism, and then there's practical feminism, and there's a huge disconnect from the two.
You get people like Baring,
and all they see is the practical, and they just assume the entirety of feminism is represented by BuzzFeed and Huffington Post and stuff. And the thing is, like, your academic feminism is just...
Have you ever read academic feminism? Have you ever read it? It is basically Tumblr feminism, except with more buzzwords.
Like you said,
in academic feminism, rape culture isn't
like literally saying that there's a culture of rapists. It's just the practical description of how you lump together all of the connected rape.
How you lump together all the connected rape. What the fuck does that even mean?
The
It isn't-
trends. Yeah,
The trends. It's a trends. It's not literally people getting together and saying, "I sure fucking love raping." It's not. That's
Yeah.
not what it is.
Then why call it a rape culture? Generally, when you refer to something as part of the culture, it's not because everybody condemns it. It's because it's celebrated.
And again, like the bearing types who just love to make fun of the BuzzFeed feminists.
That's actually a good point. If Bering specializes in BuzzFeed anti-feminism, maybe you should try hitting up some of the robust anti-feminists.
Completely, when he debunks what they say, because he's right, what they're saying is fucking nonsense a lot of the time, but he ends up misrepresenting it in his debunk, and that trickles down your entire spectrum.
How can he be right about what they're saying and misrepresenting it?
He's right. What they're saying is nonsense, but he ends up misrepresenting them, and that trickles down the entire spectrum. Fucking hell, mate.
And then
There is no good feminism. There is nothing about feminism. It's bullshit from the very beginning. And most of the individuals, political feminists, know it's bullshit. They know that this is just a tool to control people with. They know this is all fucking bullshit. The oppression narrative, oppression of women back then, oppression of women in other cultures, they know it's bullshit. The political feminists don't believe this shit. That's why they're perfectly happy allying themselves with Sharia law enthusiasts. Because they don't believe that women were oppressed back then, and they don't believe women are oppressed in Muslim societies. They simply use it as a tool to control everyone else. Has anyone considered this is why they're absolutely fine with inviting women who advocate for Sharia law as in terms to lead their fucking events?
And then you get audiences of people that follow Bering that just assume the entirety of feminism is represented by that misinformation that they're spread.
Feel free to read some academic feminism. Because
yeah, there's
People
certainly a faction of ponage channels who make. I mean, and again, this is kind of why I don't like calling myself an anti-feminist, is because there's a lot of people who call themselves anti-feminists and they like to just
shit on anyone and everyone who calls themselves feminists.
there are two types of feminists. There are the political feminists who understand that the entire mythology is bullshit, but they use it in order to control the other type of feminists who uncritically believe that there is actually class warfare between men and women, and this isn't a concept that's just patently absurd. Men and women construct the societies they live in. Women teach children the habits that later become their gender roles. And men express those habits in political systems. It's a fucking interconnection. It's a dynamic. And talking about it in terms of oppression and class warfare is totally and utterly bullshit. And the political feminists, the intelligent ones on the top, they know it's bullshit. It's everybody else who just can't seem to see through the fog of war.
and what they'll pick little like 14-year-old girls that are in their bedroom and they're just like, "Hi guys, I think that
Women should get paid the same as men." And then they'll be like, "You're wrong, they already are. Look how fucking stupid this person is."
Also, those
Oh,
channels
okay.
are sometimes the ones that
Wait a second, so if they pick 14-year-old boys, that would be okay? Like, that's what sort of what feminists do. They pick 14-year-old middle school boys to go in and to tell them to be responsible for women's oppression. But you know, if we target a 14-year-old girl and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be communicating misinformation on the internet, that's bad. Government-sponsored programs go into middle school, target 14-year-old boys, that's good.
Okay, I know Bering, for example, is almost universally disliked among the feminist community.
Congratulations, Baron. I think you're in the same company as me. Even before Gamergate, the auto block bot, I was on tier 1. I was higher than Karen because they really hate me. But congratulations, Baron. You got good company. You got me. You got me for company.
Come on, we like Bering.
Oh, thanks, June. I like you too.
I just don't like his when he goes after like 12.
No, I mean-
Citation needed.
12-year-olds, June. Hey, while we're speaking absolute shit, why don't we just round it off at 10-year-olds? Or fuck it, 6-year-olds.
Among the feminist
Nice of a
community.
guy.
June, I mean, among
you're not going to find many feminists who like Bering. Yeah.
no, I mean, among,
So what? So what? The useful idiots aren't going to like him because he skewers their fucking worldview, and the political feminists aren't going to like him because he makes it harder for them to use their fucking bullshit to deceive people. What is the problem here?